Good morning and welcome to County Executive Stuart Pittman's virtual press conference. Today, the County Executive will announce the fiscal year 24 community support grants and discuss other items. I will take questions after the updates. Reminder to put your name and media affiliation in the chat, and I will call on folks in that order. Please keep your camera and microphone off unless you're called upon for questions. Mr. County Executive.
All right, thank you, Renisha. Let me start out by just saying that it's still pretty close to the beginning of the year, and up here on the fourth floor of the Arundel Center, we're feeling a lot of optimism. Just yesterday, we swore in all of our cabinet, and not something that is traditionally done for everyone, but it was an important occasion in the old courthouse to remind all of the great public servants that run our departments what their obligation is to the residents of this county, and to start the year, with a real sense of unity together. The theme for the next 4 years, I think you'll be hearing me say this a lot, is it's finishing what we started. There's nothing sexy about that. It's what we said we were going to do, and there's a lot left to do to make this county greener, safer, smarter, more equitable, the things that you've been hearing me say for years. And it's going to be especially important as we move forward for our businesses to have the workforce that they need, that is educated and that has a place to live, and that has transportation, and is healthy. And so those are the priorities in everything that we do. I just got out of a Chamber of Commerce annual legislative breakfast that they do, and there's a great sense of enthusiasm and optimism there. So I'm looking forward to a great decade as we move forward with a new administration at the state level, and the General Assembly just starting. But I want to talk about these community support grants that we're doing, because I have said from day one that we need to improve the capacity, build the capacity of our nonprofit sector, particularly to address what I have talked about for a long time, and that we chronicle in our county every 3 years, which is poverty amidst plenty, our community needs assessment. And, we started this community support grant program my first year with about just under $700,000. We've increased it as we've had federal funds to support it, and also had a good economy and a healthy budget, got it up to $2 million. We're going to continue at that $2 million level in this budget, and we are just opening up the portal for nonprofit organizations to apply for those funds. It's administered by our Arundel Community Development Services team. Aaron Karpowitz is here to just give us some details about the program for those who are interested.
Thank you, County Executive Pittman. ACDS is very excited that we have this funding available. It's a great resource opportunity for our many nonprofit community partners. A new component of the grant this year is that the community support grant will offer capacity building grants to improve organizational efficiencies and sustainability. We're also allowing grantee applicants to apply for funds to purchase equipment, and that might enhance existing services. And also nonprofit partners can apply to pilot new and innovative programs. So that's in addition to regular operating support that is funding some of our critical needs in the county. We continue this year. The priorities are to provide services to underserved populations, address health and well-being in the community, and promote equity and inclusion, as well as eliminate the opportunity gap in education. So these competitive grants typically range from around $10,000 to $50,000. And the applications, as the county executive mentioned, are live on the portal. They're due February 21st. And folks can also attend a special virtual training that my team is putting on January 18th. So everything is up on the website now, and you can visit aacounty.org/community support grants for more information.
All right, thank you, Aaron. I also want to just note a council bill that is going to be considered at the February 6th meeting that's been introduced already. This is to extend the outdoor dining that we began in response to the COVID pandemic We did this with a county declaration of emergency that is no longer in effect. And we did it last year, an extension, and we need 5 votes of the 7 people on the council. We believe we'll get 7 votes. Everybody will support this, I think, because our restaurants have said that outdoor dining is healthy. It works for them. It makes it easier for them to do business, and we want to make it easier for businesses in our county to operate. It's somewhat complicated in our code because of parking restrictions and requirements and things. And so during this year, we'll be working with our team to come up with legislation that can be permanent to allow the outdoor dining to continue forever, we hope. So stay tuned on that. And then I want to note that Thursday evening is the beginning of a process that has become sort of famous in Anne Arundel County. We do budget town halls in each of our council districts, all 7 of them. So starting this Thursday, we will be inviting residents to come in. And the first one is in District 2, Glen Burnie area with Councilwoman Pickard. And we'll be presenting the state of the county's finances, our projections for revenues and what we expect our expenses to look like, so that people can have tough conversations about what we can afford. But I do want to note that we have funded a lot of things that have come to us through these town halls, and I expect there to be some communities that come forth with ideas. And if they're good ones, and we'll get them into the budget. In the past, the West County Elementary School, the Deal Community Park, the Duval Highway, Outing Avenue sidewalk construction, and a lot of improvements to our animal care and control facility have all been initiated through these budget town halls. So we look forward to that. And I do want to note that last year was an especially good year with increased recurring revenue. And we had a wonderful budget after our AAA bond rating. And we set ourselves up for economic challenges. Our revenue reserve fund is higher than it's ever been. We got rid of a structural deficit. So this year we've got a request from our school board for $89 million more than last year in order to address the shortage of teachers and bus drivers and other staff. They say they need to increase pay. And that's a very reasonable request in this economy. It's what businesses are doing. But we don't have that kind of money expected to come in. So we're going to have some tough conversations about how we can meet the needs of our school system and the rest of county government, all of our institutions, given what the revenue projections are. So hope to see many of you starting this Thursday. You can go to aacounty.org/budget town halls to get the schedule for each of the 7 districts where we'll be doing those. And then finally, I just want to welcome all of the delegates and senators that will be swarming Annapolis starting tomorrow, the beginning of session. We've got some great new representatives from Anne Arundel County. We've got new Senator Dawn Guile and Senator Clarence Lamb, who's going to be representing the northern part of our county through redistricting. He's a veteran senator from Howard County and who's representing us as well. We've also got delegates Gary Simmons, Andrew Pruski, who's moved from the council to the General Assembly, and Stuart Schmidt, newcomers, joining the great team that we've got and that we work with during session. And I want to also note that we've got then January 18th, we'll have a new neighbor moving into town. His name is Wes Moore, and he will be our governor. And we're very proud to welcome him to Anne Arundel County. So we're looking forward to that inauguration on the 18th. So I'll stop with that, turn it back over to you, Renisha, for questions.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. Just a reminder, put your name and media affiliation in the chat if you have questions. Dana Monroe, Capital Gazette.
Hi, this is off topic of everything, but just another thing that I wanted to ask about. I know the Veterans Compost Group has expressed frustration in having their lease end, and I wondered why you thought it was the best decision.
So I'm a big advocate of what Veterans Compost has gotten a state grant to do in Anne Arundel County, which is composting. Particularly their grant is to take in horse manure, which I know a thing or two about, is why the site is in South County where there are a lot of horse farms, but also restaurant food scraps, and mix them and create wonderful, wonderful compost. And so the site that the previous administration identified after looking at a number of others was on Sands Road, close to the Patuxent River, where there's been a lot of opposition from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, from the Patuxent River Keepers, from the NAACP, and a lot of residents concerned about that site in particular. It's also where we have a park adjacent to a park. The trucks go right through that parking lot. So what I've told them is that we are working to identify a new site and that we will make them whole and get this thing going as soon as possible. And I believe we'll have an announcement about a site fairly soon.
Can I just add one follow-up? They said that you renewed their lease about 2 years ago. Why did you decide to do that back then? Was there not as much opposition at the time?
There was not, and I had not heard from some of these residents and advocates about their concerns at that time. And since then we have, and we believe that we can meet the need for this facility at another location that I believe will actually be better for veterans compost as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. County Executive. Ken Duffy, WBAL.
Yeah, hi, County Executive. How are you? Going back to the General Assembly, it gets underway tomorrow. Do you have any legislative priorities for the county in terms of any funding you want to see secured for any specific areas?
A lot of funding, of course. So, we have the Route 2 and Route 3 corridors where we have agreements with state highways to address what are our worst bottlenecks. So they're very high on our list. We have the parking garage at Odenton that will allow our transit-oriented development there at the MARC station to take place. And we've put together a letter with about a dozen items for the governor and the General Assembly, similar to what we've given to our members of Congress that we use to get our earmarks. The trail system as well is something that we're always looking for funding for. We're getting within a few years of having a complete loop with all our bike and pedestrian trails. And then, of course, Crownsville, where they really delivered for us last year with $30 million to help us transform Crownsville Hospital Center into Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park. And we will continue to be seeking funding to move that project forward.
Thank you. Last call for questions. Okay, thank you, everyone.